Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation going on with Powdur. Now, if you don't know, Powdur is, a VTuber who's been pretty on and off lately. I'm pretty sure she did have a little bit of a break recently, but I've talked to her a couple of times. She's been very, very nice. And it seems like, she's been involved in a little bit of, I guess, not controversy, but I guess some company calling her out, or I say company, artist or whatever you want to call it, calling her out. And essentially, Powdur actually uploaded this kind of short thing up on Twitter, which got 5.7 million views and 29,000 likes, which again is pretty crazy, right? This blew up pretty massively, and I think the comment that we're about to go into as well was the thing that also helped it get even further from the initial massive boost that it got. But this is essentially the clip that was posted on her Twitter.
Oh no, you're a racist. And? Question mark? If that's their way of attacking someone for standing up for their country and their people, then so be it. That doesn't offend me at all. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, obviously she kind of addresses people, calling people racist over stuff, and essentially saying, it's not a big deal to her if she's standing up for her country and whatever. And some people, including the actual designer or whatever you want to call it for this model that she is using right here, because this is a little bit different from her other model. Essentially they did actually respond to this post. Their name is Chalice Kokoda, I think that is what it's called. And essentially what they do is they make a ton of different models, right? Like this one, for example, which is a customizable VTuber model. Now, if you don't know what a customizable VTuber model is, it is essentially a model that you can change about and kind of customize it to your choice, to essentially make it fit whatever design you want. So say you want something, that looks a little bit like Powdur's, right? That looks like almost her other model, then you can 100% do that. Or you can do it, for example here, like this one kind of looks like a Hatsune Miku, but with bunny ears. And essentially this artist makes a ton of these customizable things that you can just put on and off, change the colors of, whatever, and then you can go ahead and use it and use it as your own VTuber model. And a lot of people do this because it is cheaper. It's cheaper than creating a custom model. If you don't know, creating custom models is a very, very expensive thing, especially if you want a good one. So again, sometimes really, really good VTuber model artists or riggers as well can actually make these kind of models so you get a high quality experience. And that maybe you won't be able to get the exact model that you want or that was in your dreams or whatever, but you're going to be able to get something close to it and something that will at least satisfy you for now, until maybe you can make enough money or whatever to get a fully custom one. Or sometimes people just like to like I'm assuming in Powdur's case, people just like to experiment with the customizable ones anyways, because it's fun just to switch up your model every now and again without committing to that full like VTuber makeover kind of thing where you have to pay a ton of money, right? And I think that is pretty understandable, to do. So essentially, this was the kind of model page or the model sheet, whatever she was using to create this model. And this person has responded by saying, hello, we request that you no longer use this model due to, to make extreme remarks. This is a customizable VTuber model, and your controversial statements may make other Liz Meta users feel uncomfortable and offended. We do not insist that you delete your previous videos. It was it would be greatly appreciated if you choose to do so, but we ask that you refrain from making extreme videos using our models going forwards. Otherwise, we will revoke your model usage rights, which I do think is pretty interesting, right? Because Powdur clearly has paid for this model. Powdur has paid to use it and is using it, I would say so, in a pretty fine way, right? Of course, she's making comments about people calling people racists and whatever, sure, but I don't think that exactly classifies as extreme behavior, right? Sure, if she was like doing some other stuff, which obviously I probably can't even say on YouTube, then maybe, sure, I could understand, wanting to have it, having how to stop, using it or whatever, because it could look pretty bad on them and also other people that are using similar model designs. But in this case, she's not even doing anything that bad, right? And I think that, they're saying we will revoke your model usage rights, which I don't understand what that means. Like, what are they going to do? Like, go to a house, like delete it from a PC? Like, I'm unsure on how you're supposed to revoke a model's rights. I guess, like, the only thing they'll do is just be very outspoken about how against they are using it. But apart from that, you can't really do much. She has the file. She has the kind of thing. And, she's paid for it. So she could do whatever the hell she likes with it, right? And obviously a lot of these do include a lot of TOS things, right? Sometimes these people will include TOS into their models and, you know, whenever you use it, which a lot of people just kind of abide by due to the fact that, you know, it's more, I guess, what do you call it? Like etiquette, right? To be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll follow by this. But obviously, yeah, Floki here saying that's not how this works. You can't just post hoc remove something, revoke something, or change the terms after the agreement. So obviously, yeah, it seems like there was an agreement before, and now they're wanting to change the agreement. Now, someone brings up the fact that on VGen, it does actually say here that you're unable to use hateful speech, which is strictly prohibited, which I'm not saying is necessarily the case that is going on in this clip, but obviously that is what they are claiming. So let's just go with it for now, for that's what they are claiming as to why they want it gone. And obviously, yeah, they say that in the VGen thing, but then there is a very quick follow-up from Floki saying coffee is where most got it from, not VGen. So there is two sites where you can get it from, which is also coffee, which is the one that I brought up, and this is the model that, you know, she's using, right? And you can also get it from VGen. Now, I don't know where she got it from. I don't think she's actually said where she got it from, but again, I'm going to assume that it potentially could be coffee because, you know, even Floki's saying here that, hey, coffee is the, you know, biggest place where they have got it from. The line seems added in the middle hastily and clunkily, and it doesn't fit like that. I will need to see a version from when it was released, or there in Endure there is no tampering, and even then, after all of that, such lines in the TOS are dubious if they're legally enforceable, as the claims would be in the US. So what they're kind of claiming there is the fact that, hey, you know, I think that the line was added there and edited into it, which obviously they're saying here, saying, yeah, so that line isn't added hastily. It's literally in the first section of the page. You don't need to see anything. It's in the TOS, and the artist has every right to tell them to stop using it since Powdur went against TOS. They say, actually, it is. It's the only spot there is no space after a period. It is completely disjointed from the sentence, which is a completely different topic. It's the only place where two different topics aren't separated by an end paragraph. It looks like she freaked out because someone whispered into her ear and ran onto here and found the section for the title for the TOS and added it to the front and quickly saved. It doesn't flow like the rest, and no, unless she can present a complete TOS from the release, this is too sus, and even then, TOS cannot violate US law to be enforceable. Hell, most TOS disputes from the TOS holder get thrown out. Hope this helps. So, yeah, obviously what they're saying here is, it looks like they quickly just went, oh god, you know, let me just add this line, and obviously, as you can see here, you know, they got dot, and obviously they said to ensure the best terms, they say the use of the model to generate unfriendly or hateful speech is strictly prohibited if you maintain multiple accounts on the same platform, and obviously no, you know, no full stop, no nothing, no comma, which again is a little bit weird because they've been very punctual throughout the entirety of this entire description. Maybe they just forgot, but I think that is something very important to kind of cover, I guess, right? Because, you know, it is interesting. It is interesting. I'm not saying it was 100% added in afterwards, but I think there is definitely some kind of, I guess, speculation behind that. And obviously that would look pretty bad on them because, you know, you can't just change it afterwards. And of course, Floki says there as well, like, you know, you can't actually enforce this by law even, you know, it's like an etiquette thing. And, you know, a lot of people won't care about that etiquette. They'll just pay for it and then just use it however the hell they want because they paid for it, right? Which I think is pretty crazy. And obviously as well, a lot of people saying, nowhere in your clause do I see a rule where users needed to adhere to any style of content, but I did find this. And they say, we merely provide the model and not responsible for the statements made by any individual users. Said, you said so yourself. You're not responsible, so just move on. Which, yeah, I do think it's true. I was getting Banana Juju here saying the recent sponsorship cancellation just shows once more it's all about money. Oh, this is about, sorry, Rev. This kind of got lost in my kind of savings. But again, this is a kind of similar situation, I guess, in terms of like some kind of company wanting to, or not company, but artists wanting to drop them. But again, it's not even like an artist wanting to, actually it is really similar. What am I talking about? But no, it is kind of one of these things where the artist wants them to stop using it. But again, I just don't think, you know, it's just stupid. People saying Powdur was a huge reason as to why I started VTubing. I remember watching her in VR chat content all the way back in 2020 to 2021. She was immensely talented in making assets and art. I hate that she resorted to this side of content creation after taking her break. The VTubing community is no place for for political propaganda, yet even so, everyone is entitled to their own opinions and belief. Still, I miss her old content and what she had make when she inspired me to begin my own creation journey. And then Powder actually responded to that saying, holy virtue signal. Politics in the VTubing sphere is nothing new. It's all of the standard left-wing socially acceptable variety. It's only political propaganda when it's politics you don't like. And it's only the it's not like the only thing I ever do is politics, but I say one thing about the VTuber community that doesn't agree with me, and now I'm enemy number one. So now I just say whatever is on my mind. I'm done filtering myself, which I think is fair enough, right? I think that is, one of these things where a lot of people tend to have a problem with it whenever it is something that they do not politically like or stand with, and that is when they have the problem with it, rather than having to, be allowed a free discussion or whatever, which is something that they advocate for quite a lot, but then never actually practice it whenever it comes to that, which I think is quite crazy. So yeah, obviously that is pretty interesting. And finally, I just kind of wanted to cover this because I thought it was quite funny. Powder actually posted this saying, wow, and yeah, she got paid $271 from Twitter for a lot of the stuff that's been going on. But let me tell you, this post, this one post here, Powder, you're in for a real treat, right? I've had a similar post that has done a similar amount of views, and the amount of money that comes in from this is absolutely insane, and it makes you think, how the hell did I even make this much money over a tweet? So, have fun in 2 weeks' time, I think it is, probably 2 weeks from whenever you uploaded this, for, your next payment, because it is going to be a big one. Let me just tell you, alongside all of your other posts as well, you're going to be farming quite a bit more than just $271. Let me tell you that, because yeah, Twitter is pretty crazy whenever it comes to paying out for impressions, especially on big posts that hit something like, what was it, 5.7 million. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. You're going to get a crazy payday from that, bigger than the one that you've said there. So again, I do think this situation is pretty crazy. I think it is pretty insane. I think that overall, I think the kind of artist or whatever, the person who is obviously talking about it, I think they're pretty stupid. Also, there's this comment calling her a Nazi freak, which I thought was pretty stupid. Anyways, they're saying, and they said, sorry, my English isn't great. She posted a video, so I couldn't really understand what she was saying at all. Someone explained to me the exact meaning of this matter to me today. I mean, yeah, I guess, right. And obviously, a lot of people have been essentially just fighting back and saying like, hey, you can't just revoke usage rights after you purchased it or anything like that, which I think is 100% true. And I think that is essentially the kind of, I guess, summary of this, right? If you want to kind of police who is using your models and stuff, and, who is saying what, I think you got to kind of, I guess, find a different way to sell your models rather than keeping it public and open for people. Because whenever you keep it public and open for anybody, then of course, you have no real right to say that, oh, I'm going to remove your usage rights, And I completely understand if they do want to control the people that are using their models, right? But as I said, you got to think of a different system that will actually allow you to do that rather than this. You just end up looking stupid because, again, she could do whatever she wants with the model. She paid for it. And I think that is about it, right? But yeah, I mean, that is about all there is for this situation. If you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kazo, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.